So I bought the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I kind of want to talk about why. Yes, I know I need a haircut, I can't find my hat, so let's forget about that, okay? Last night, I was sitting on Apple's website for, not even kidding, about 3 hours refreshing the page, hoping that I can find one pop up for a pickup near me. And I got very lucky. I ended up finding a white titanium iPhone 15 Pro Max 256GB, which is the exact model that I was looking for, aside from maybe the natural titanium. However, I want to talk to you about why I decided to make that purchase in the first place, because I already have a phone that I love. This is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5, and this phone is, right now, and honestly in general, my favorite smartphone. And I really don't see myself, not using this device as a daily driver, because I can't be asked to stop using this phone. It has everything I need. It has a very large inner display because of that foldable form factor, which does allow me to do things that I typically don't do on a smartphone, like play games. Diablo Immortal, for example, or Call of Duty Mobile are games that I've been enjoying a lot on this phone because I have more screen real estate to enjoy them. That and the fact that I do get real multitasking advantages of this device are something that I really do use. And when it comes to an iPhone or really any sort of style slab phone, those are features that I'm definitely gonna miss and features that I don't really want to live without. But the reason that I decided to pick up the iPhone, aside from obviously making content and giving you my honest experience with the phone, because you all know how I am with Apple recently, and I feel like it's kind of good to have that sort of narrative when it comes from the other side. Having someone explain their experience with that phone who isn't necessarily being not paid by Apple, but heavily sort of trained by them so that they can show up to the next event. I spent my own money on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I'm excited for it to come. There are certain features when it comes to this phone that I'm really happy to see, like the inclusion of USB-C, and more specifically on the Pro models, that USB 3.0 connectivity. Yes, these are things that we've seen on other flagships before, but when it comes to an iPhone, it's been really hard to deal with that Lightning connector for as long as I have, if I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm not even kidding, I've probably spent $300-400 on MagSafe chargers just to keep them around the house so that I don't have to worry about using that Lightning cable. And that sounds like a really expensive solution to a first world problem, but that's not a cable that I carry around, and it's not a cable that I go out and buy extras of, so the ones that I have are typically the ones that come with the phone. USB-C, on the other hand, because it's so generalized and standard, I have USB-C cables with me everywhere. With my Samsung phones, I have 10, 15, 20-foot cables. I have ones for my MacBook. I have ones that literally I use for my monitor that I can, plug my phone into decks. I have cables for USB-C everywhere because every device that I use now interacts with it. And having that on a phone is very important to me. And it may not seem like a big deal right now, but it is. Another thing that makes the whole USB-C debacle really good for me is this thing. This is just a 2.5-inch SATA SSD inside of an enclosure, but I can actually record ProRes directly to this SSD now. And what's very specific about this SSD is this SSD is where all of my content is stored. And the benefit of this is not having to go out and have to transfer files from the iPhone to my Mac, to my computer, to this, to that, to be able to edit them. I can just get them all in one place and be able to take them to my computer and edit whatever I need to, whether it's shorts, a vlog, this and that. And the benefits of this as a content creator are very good. Like, I don't see a lot of people necessarily caring about ProRes to SSD recording because at the end of the day, it's not a really big deal. But for people who are kind of in my position, or even honestly, even kind of filmmakers, this is a really big deal for us. Working with an iPhone to make shorts and stuff like that has always been kind of difficult because one hand, you do get some of the best mobile video quality you can on a phone, but if you don't have a MacBook, good luck with that because it's so convoluted to get that video off of that phone and onto your computer. And that's why I just stopped using the iPhone for making shorts and TikToks, and it's why I don't even make that content in the first place. Having said that though, I am actually genuinely really excited to see that come to the iPhone, and that's a big feature for me. And I'm glad that Apple didn't just implement USB-C as, for charging and this and that on the Pro models, and they did give it some extra features that do make it worth it to us. And another thing that's really cool with this iPhone is using that USB-C port as a display out. So you can use this for an external monitor, you can use this to play games on your TV, and having that full resolution output is just really cool. And yes, it's something that other devices can do, but the iPhone is something that is actually powerful enough to fully take advantage of that. You're not going to get an environment like Dex or Stage Manager or anything like that on the iPhone, but being able to play games and actually use your phone as a camera and have an external monitor is kind of cool if you do take filmmaking on your iPhone sort of seriously. Now, when it comes to the build quality, everyone's talking about titanium. I personally don't really care whether my phone is aluminum, titanium, stainless steel, because at the end of the day, it does end up getting put in a case. But another thing that makes me excited for the iPhone and the fact that it is titanium is the fact that it is going to be about 18 grams lighter. Now, I use the Z Fold 5, and I'm okay with the phone being heavy because that's just kind of the nature of this device. It's a foldable, it is gonna be a heavy phone. But when it comes to the iPhone, you have, such a slim package. It's not supposed to be a brick in your pocket, but those Pro models, due to that stainless steel, have always been really, really heavy, and you feel that. When it comes to the foldable, you have the weight spread out across the entire device. So yes, it is heavy, it is kind of, a big device in your pocket when you fold it up, but when you're using it in your day-to-day, you don't really notice that. With the iPhone, I've always found with the 14 Pro Max and the 13 Pro Max that carrying these devices around it's a lot, especially if you're kind of just like laying in bed and holding it up over your face. The amount of times I've dropped it on my nose is insane, and that's probably why I have a deviated septum. The weight difference is a big deal. When it comes to durability, I would always recommend just getting a nice case when it comes to these phones. I like cases from Spigen, and that's just my personal preference. I hate spending like $2,000-$3,000 on a phone, Canadian, just to kind of have it be destroyed on the first drop. The titanium, like I said, is a big deal when it comes to, the phone shedding some weight, because that's always nice to see, especially on these devices that you carry around on a day-to-day basis. Also, I do want to clarify that the reason I did go with the Pro Max model is quite literally just because of the 5x telephoto lens. For me, it's a little bit silly that Apple has limited this 5x telephoto to the Pro Max. Their argument, of course, is probably going to be that there isn't enough room in the phone to be able to put that 5x telephoto in the regular Pro. But for me, this is kind of sad because I am someone who this year was actually really looking forward to carrying around a smaller phone. I've got really used to the cover display on the Z Fold 5, and I really like the way that I can actually just navigate the phone without having to do any awkward hand gymnastics. And unfortunately, when it comes to the Pros, if you want, all of the features, the best of the both worlds, you're gonna have to get the Pro Max. It is kind of shady, it is kind of annoying, and it is definitely more expensive. Another problem that I have with the Pro Max is now, due to this SSD ProRes recording, I don't actually need a phone that's gonna be any bigger than 128 gigs. I'm not someone that fills up the storage on my device a lot. You already have things like iCloud, which take care of all your photo offloading and everything. So when it comes to the storage, I'm not entirely sure why they force you to go with a 256 gig variant, other than an increase in price. Because now the iPhone 15 Pro Max in Canada is about $1,759. And if I'm not mistaken, last year the iPhone 14 Pro Max in Canada started at $1,569. So that price difference is absolutely insane, but that's just the way it is. Anyways, like I said, I'm probably not, and definitely, well, not even probably, I will not be using the iPhone 15 Pro Max as my main phone, other than some of the first initial reviews where I'll be carrying the phone around and kind of just giving it a run for its money. At the end of the day though, I do think that it is going to be a step in the right direction for Apple. There are changes on this device that are definitely really well needed, despite them being forced to include USB-C. I think that it's just very nice, especially when it comes to the whole e-waste sort of thing and having these superior lightning cables, because those things are just, I can't deal with them. I am excited for the cameras, I'm excited for the video, and I'm excited to be able to take this phone out and use it in my day-to-day to show you guys what it's capable of. And I will be doing videos where I compare it between this and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, because that is going to be the phone that I'm putting every device up to for now on, and I'm really curious to see how it stacks up. And who knows, maybe my opinion on it will change, and maybe I'm not going to be super hesitant toward the device, and maybe I might actually end up liking it. But as of right now, I'm very skeptical, and I want to go into these reviews with that skepticism because throughout the last couple of generations of the iPhone, I have been far from happy with those devices, and I think the 14 Pro Max really put a nail in the coffin for me when it came to the iPhone. So let's just see if this one's any different. If you all enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.